Hey guys, Denise's Lazy Came Out and Homestead. Well, I hope everybody's doing well and you guys are in your garden and in your element and your happy place just like I am. This is the time of year for me. It gets a little overwhelming sometimes, but you just got to keep pressing on. So, as you can see, I've been doing green beans today. Been picking tomatoes. I got tomatoes over there. You can't see them, but all kinds of heirlooms. But today, what we're going to do is a recipe called Chow Chow or Piccalilli. You can find the recipes in the Ball Blue Book, but I do have one that I'm going to try today. It was sent to me by a viewer, and it's called Zesty Chow Chow Relish. Now, when I make Chow Chow, I don't necessarily make it into the relish consistency like you would if you were going to put it on hot dogs. But you can put this on hot dogs if you want to. We like to make our Chow Chow or Piccalilli as a side because it's so tasty. It's kind of a sweet, savory, just delicious. It's got cabbage, bell peppers, green onions, onions. I've got Viggies for this. I like to use Viggies or sweet onions so it doesn't overpower. It has a lot of different spices, and for the zestiness, I'm going to use a lot of different peppers. I've got serranos, jalapenos, and Anaheims out of the garden that I picked today. I've got the bell peppers. I've got 3 of them. I let this one start turning a little bit because I wanted the color. And I've got 3 really nice green tomatoes. I need 3 cups. I think that'll make 3 cups. If not, I got plenty more over here. Chow Chow or Piccalilli is kind of an end of the season canning that farmers or homesteaders would use so they didn't just let a lot of this go to waste or just can one thing. And it's really delicious. So what I did was I went out to the garden. I've got some late cabbage. I've got 2 cabbages here. I need 4 cups. I need 3 cups of the bell peppers and 1 of a red or orange. So this one's turning orange, so I'm going to just cut that up. I need 8 garlic cloves. Like I said, 3 cups of the green pepper. I need 3 tablespoons of sea salt, and I need some ice. Okay, let me just double check everything. What we're going to do is we're going to cut all our veggies up. And we are going to put it in a container. Now, what I like to use, now this is clean, I put it in the dishwasher. I don't use it for anything else except vegetables. Put it in here, and we're going to sprinkle the salt on top of it, and we're going to cover it in ice, and we're going to keep it in the fridge overnight. Now, you can just go as little as 4 hours if you want to. But for me, I like to go overnight because I feel like that salt and ice and the cold of the fridge keeps it really crisp. And tomorrow when we come back, we will rinse all that off and we'll proceed with the rest of the recipe. But before we get started on chopping everything up, I wanted to let you know there are a lot of spices that go into this. So if you want to get prepared ahead of time, I'll have everything in the description box anyways. But if you want to get prepared and go along with me on this, what we're going to need is just regular red pepper flakes. I get most of my stuff at the Mennonites, so you need red pepper flakes. I'll give all the amounts tomorrow. We're going to need coarse black pepper, dill weed or dill seed. I'm using the weed because I prefer it instead of the seeds. Willis and I have old teeth now, so it's easier for dill weed, not weed. But anyway, it does the same taste, and it's wonderful. Now, celery seeds are okay because they're tiny, but we need celery seeds, and we do need some mustard seeds, but when you use mustard seeds, when you chew on them, they just pop. They are not hard like a dill seed is. We also need ground mustard. We need some ground ginger. And we need some turmeric and parsley flakes. So, like I said, it takes a lot. And we need 1 cup of sugar. The salt is going to be on the vegetables. When we go to rinse it, it's going to stay in the vegetables, so you're not going to have any additional salt. And you're going to need white vinegar. I would recommend not using the apple cider vinegar because it does throw off the taste. I've tried that before with Chow. But anyways, that's what we're going to need. And I've got all this here, and what I'm going to do is just chop it up. And like I said, I like mine a little chunkier, maybe bite-sized compared to putting it in the food processor and making it into a relish. Because I already make a zucchini and a cucumber relish, and we like this to be a little bit chunkier and use it as a side. It goes great with almost anything. I mean, fried chicken, Salisbury steak, hamburgers. You can have it as a side along with your potato salad. And it's really nice to open it up in the middle of winter time and have all those flavors of the garden that are under snow. So anyways, let's get started. I'm going to use this. This is a 4-cup measure. And I'm going to go ahead and just, like I said, just kind of chunk everything up. I need 3 of these Vidalia onions or sweet onions. Now, if you don't mind strong onion flavor, just use whatever. Everything I'm using, except for the onions, because ours didn't do that well, came out of our garden today. Every single thing. And I'm so happy with that. It's just a really great feeling. But if you don't have that, you know, the farmer's market or Walmart has good produce. That's actually where we go for our produce because they really do have a fine produce department. And it's always fresh, and I think that's because they have so many customers. Unfortunately, a lot of the local grocery stores, they don't have as good at produce departments as Walmart does. And our local Mennonites, they don't really sell this kind of stuff. They sell watermelons and cantaloupes and pumpkins, but they don't really sell their vegetables. I think they mainly sell them to the grocery stores. So, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and put everything in here. Just dump it right in here. And this is clean. And when I get everything in here, I'm going to toss it. I'm going to set it on top of my green beans here so you can see it right there. Okay, so next we're going to do the cabbage. Really proud of this cabbage. I've actually got some fall cabbage started. I have tried a new company for us. It's called Hoss, H-O-S-S. I've seen a lot of people use them. And I ordered some stonehead cabbage and Godzilla broccoli. And I only grew 10 seeds of each. And we're going to try a fall garden. Fall gardens aren't always easy here. We live on the plateau in Tennessee. And usually our frost in October comes around the 15th. But we've had it as early as late September. So hopefully we'll get the cabbage and broccoli. I'll do a little video, a little short, maybe tomorrow, and show you exactly what we did. Where they're just little seedlings now. But once I get them in the ground, it'll be 50 days. So we have all of August, all of September, and hopefully a little bit into October. So we should be okay. So fingers crossed. Well, I guess I'm only going to need, well, I guess I'll need that other cabbage, maybe half of it. All right, the recipe calls for 8 cups. So maybe, we'll see. We may just go ahead and use one of these. But that's okay. I'll make some coleslaw with that because I just love coleslaw. And I have not made any kraut yet. I do have videos on all that, you guys. So if you're interested in making kraut, super easy recipe. It's in, I can link it down there in the bottom. Okay, that was 8 cups, so that was just 1. And this is not a very big cabbage, as you can see. I guess medium size, but it is heavy, so it was pretty tight. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do pepper. Go ahead. I don't have to measure out anything else. I know what I need for this. Everything has been washed. Now, you know, it's okay to let your peppers turn. That doesn't mean they're bad or anything. That's just the beauty of a pepper. Sometimes they'll turn red, sometimes they'll turn yellow, sometimes they'll turn orange. And this one, I got lucky. We've got some yellow ones out in the garden still, but I don't have them where they're ready yet. And it's okay if you use peppers that are maybe a little on the wilty side too. I don't like to let anything go to waste. Okay, so you can kind of see that I'm cutting it up in bite-sized chunks. And I'll get the rest of this one because I want that for the color. And in the description box, when I put the recipe in, it'll say red or orange or yellow. And you just need one of them, but you need 2 of the green bell peppers. And I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, and you may, bell peppers, they have a certain flavor. But if you buy or grow the yellow, green, or red peppers, the yellow, green, or orange peppers, they have a different flavor. They don't have that real intense green pepper taste. So if you don't like that, you can go with putting in the green or the yellow, red, or orange. But I like the flavor. These, they smell so good. They're so fresh. I just got them out of the garden. Oh my goodness. I bought these seeds and plants from Gurney Seed Company this year. I bought both the seeds and the, you know what, I think I might have mixed some seeds up in there. I'll have to see before I put it in there. Talking and lost my train of thought. But Gurney's, you can find them online. A lot of times they'll send you catalogs. Well, they send us catalogs all the time. I don't know if they send them anyways, but I noticed that sometimes when you start asking for catalogs for different seed companies, every seed company in the world starts sending us seed catalogs, which is fine with me because I love seed catalogs. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring my onions and cabbage over here. And I'm kind of going to go through here and make sure. Yep, I did put that seed in here, but that's okay. That's all right. I'll take it out. I got a cat down here. All right. Luckily, it was just a seed pod. All right. I'll go ahead and just put that in there. And I have one more. Now, if you decide that you want to make this more of a relish consistency, you can actually do that after you've had it in the brine overnight. After you've rinsed it and everything. But, like I said, we like it just a little bit bite-sized. Everything bite-sized. It just is just a wonderful side to eat. Right out of the jar. Delicious. For me and Willis, it's nothing better than be able to go into your pantry and do your grocery shopping. I know it's a lot of work, but boy, is it... it's just well worth it to be able to go in there and say, the garden did good last year, you know. And it's nothing wrong with patting yourself on the back because you did a good job. Gardening is not easy. I'm not going to say it is, but it's very rewarding. Okay, here is my garlic. This is actually my last garlic clove, head of garlic that I've got left. These I grew a couple years ago, and they have done so well. And I've got some ordered from Haas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are pretty nice size. These were from Gurney's. But I wanted to try Haas. I've heard so many good things. Okay, so let me get all these papers out of the way. As you know, garlic has the little thin paper peels. I think I planted 4 of the big pods, and out of that I had a huge, it was a 10 by 4 by 10 raised bed, and they lasted 2 years dried, and I even gave some away. So my trick for garlic is this. You have a wide blade knife, and you don't want to, it's sharp, but you want to be careful, and you have your garlic clove down here, and you just lay it right there flat, and you just hit it. Don't slide, you just hit it. Okay, and what that does is it makes it so that slides right off there. Now I'm going to mince each one of these. Some people like to mince them with salt, but since we're going to pour the salt to it, we're not going to worry about it. They're just going to rough chop these as well. Maybe a little bit finer than I am all the other vegetables, because I don't want a big hunk of garlic in my mouth. Some people don't mind it. They're really good for your heart, garlic. A lot of what God put on this earth, He knew what He was doing. I mean, these are just all wonderful things that we can use for our health. There's a lot of books out there that you can get. I can't really reference one right now, but that'll tell you what's good for this and good for that. I think even as I get older, and I knew things growing up, I was really lucky to have a teacher. I went to private Christian school for my high school years, except for my last year, but that's another story. I had a teacher, Mr. Palmer, who was, this is in the 70s, he was really into herbs and health food and stuff like that, because that was a big thing back then. And he taught us a lot, and I've always grown comfrey ever since that. Comfrey is an herb, and you can use it for a lot of different things, but what I always used it for was bruises. When I was younger, I had 3 brothers, and I always tried to keep up with my brothers. Even though I was the oldest, I kept up with my brothers. And I was always getting bruised. We would play baseball, basketball, football. Growing up in the country, you didn't always have, the luxury of going out all the time. Especially my dad was really strict, so we didn't get to do a lot of things that our counterparts got to do. So we would do things like that, and I'd always get bruised. But anyways, what I did with the big comfrey leaves, Mr. Palmer told me, because he seen I had a bruise one time on my thigh, and it was from I got hit playing football. He said, go home, here's comfrey leaves. He brought them the next day. He said, go home and just boil them, and then just plaster them right on that, and it will help bring the swelling down. And it did. So thank you, Mr. Palmer. I know you're in heaven now, but anyway, I've always grown comfrey. Sometimes it's not easy to find, but I did find it at our local Mennonites when I moved here to Tennessee 16 years ago now. Can't believe it. And I have had the same plant since. And also the bees love the flowers. All right, so there we go with that. Next, we're going to do our green tomatoes, and you want green ones. You don't want red or ripe tomatoes, because these will actually hold up with the canning. And we want 3 of them. And the zesty part of this, besides the garlic and the bell peppers, is going to be all of those hot peppers. Now, I am going to seed my peppers because I don't want it to be too super hot where I actually can't eat it. And if you can handle the heat, then go right ahead. But I will tell you my tricks on how to seed the peppers. I usually do them underwater. And you got to make sure that you do not, now even though this is a green tomato, it still has some red inside. So that's kind of pretty. And it is not ripe. So, and any of the shoulders that you might see that has a little bit of creases on it, you know, it's you want to take that off. Where it's been, you know, creased by the sun, you want to make sure you take that off. Just because tomatoes are the one fruit, I mean, you need to wash all your fruit and vegetables, I'm not going to say that, but they are the one fruit that you really need to be careful with, because they do tend to carry the skin. Now, you're going to have to keep the skin on these. And they, again, are rough chopped. But I like that pink in there. That's really pretty. This is probably a hillbilly. We've got some hillbilly tomatoes. A lot of those plants out there. These are all heirlooms. I've got some hybrids growing in the other garden over here. Those are going to be my main canners. They're Mountain Fresh Plus, and they are a little bit slower than the hybrids getting started, but they're faster when harvest comes, if that makes sense, because hybrids are usually like 100 days. And I did have a little hard time getting these seeds, the Mountain Fresh Plus. They were out of stock. Have you guys had any of that trouble this year trying to get your seeds this year? I had some trouble. I couldn't even get some zucchini seeds. I finally got them. I had to order them. I mean, and we have the co-ops, and we have the Walmart and Tractor Supply and Rural King, but I couldn't find the ones I was looking for anyway. So, like I said, I'm just chunking this up into bite-sized pieces. By the way, this is supposed to make 8 to 9 pints. And if you see, I'm looking at every one. So, okay, these are Anaheims. I'm not going to worry about the seeds in these. I don't mind the seeds, but I am going to split it open because I like to just see inside of my fruit and veg. That looks pretty good. I might take the little rib out here. Like I said, I'm not going to worry too much about those seeds, but they are kind of big. So, anyways, just going to go ahead and just cut this up in just slices like so. Hope you guys can see. I've kind of got my camera backed up a little so you can see everything. All right, I've got that one, and here's another one. Yeah, so you just can take your thumb. Now, these are not hot, so that's why I'm not worrying about the seeds on my fingers and my hands. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and chop these, slice them up however you want to do it, chunk them. Okay. Okay, so here, well, that's another, and I may throw that in. I've got some serranos. These are all serranos. And then I've got some, let me see here. Okay, this is a jalapeno. See how it curves? That's how I know that's a jalapeno. And that is a serrano because they're straight. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me get some water over here. Oh, I've got, hold on one second. Let me get a glass bowl so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to fill it up with water just from the sink. And this is just to seed these. It's not for any other reason. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and pop them in that water. Get a paring knife. Oh, I'll get a shorter paring knife, like so. I've got these in the water. Now you want to be able to have enough water in here to where it's under the water. Okay, and I've got glasses on. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but peppers do, especially jalapenos and serranos, and then you go up with the other ones like ghost peppers and whatever, but I don't use them. Scotch bonnets, things like that. You want to go under the water, and this really does help with keeping the scent of the pepper out of the air. And that's what I'm trying to do. Because peppers, even though you may not have it in your eyes, the scent will go right in your eye. So I'm just cutting both ends off in the water. And then I'm going to slice it straight down the middle, just like I did the other ones. And then while it's under the water, I'm going to go ahead, and no, you can't see that, but believe me, I'm doing it. I'm trying to do it so you can see it. I just take my thumb and I just get the rib out of there. Okay, and then I'm just going to let it sit in that water. Okay, and then I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do all 4 of these because it does call for 2 of each. And again, there's serranos and jalapenos. And if you want to use a hotter pepper to make it even zestier, that's up to you. But this is about as hot as we go. But I love cowboy candy. I make with the jalapenos. They're so good. And I like to, I do seed them with that too. And then also I like to make, the pickled jalapenos. Now I haven't pickled serranos, but because I'm getting so many peppers and great peppers this year, I'm going to try to make, and I've never tried it, some pepper jelly. My son had a girlfriend from Alaska, and her mom made pepper jelly, and she brought it down here one year from Alaska, and oh my gosh, it was so good. You eat it, it is sweet with a hit of hot, and you eat it on crackers with some cream cheese. Oh my goodness, you can't stop eating it. If you love stuff like that, yeah. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring these out. No seeds. Seeds are your heat. Ribs are your heat. So remember that. Okay, I do have one more. Let me go ahead and just do him. He's just a little serrano. Okay, I want to let him soak for a minute too. Because believe me, just that little bit of soaking does help with taking a lot of that heat out of the pepper itself. So I'm going to go ahead and set him over here. And I know I have a mess. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to chop these pretty thin. I don't like to do stuff like this in my food processor or my blender because the heat, and I know I'm having a blank right now, and I think it's capsaicin. I think that's what the word is, which is the scale of the heat of the peppers. If you do it in a food processor or a blender, once again, it gets in the air. And I learned that the hard way. And also, another thing I think I've said on my videos before, do not dehydrate peppers in the house. You need to put them on a back porch or out in the garage, somewhere way away, because it will literally take your breath with that heat in the air. There's that one. And then I've got this little one here. I'm going to go ahead and... But you see, I've got these pretty thin. You can probably zoom in on that. And I'm going to go... These are really thin. I mean, not paper thin, but they're thin. But it will be a tolerable heat because I've taken the seeds out and the ribs. And that's what we like. But you know, if you ever go to a sub place and they have the pickled jalapenos, I've never seen anybody have seeds in theirs. So I guess that's what they do as well. So we're just going to go ahead and put them in there, and I've got all my vegetables. Okay, we got the cabbage, we've got the tomatoes, we've got all the peppers and the onions, and it is beautiful. There you go, beautiful. I just mixed it all with my hand. So what I'm going to do now is take 3 tablespoons of sea salt. I get that at the Mennonites too because it's so much cheaper than Walmart. So if you guys can ever find that, you're just putting all of that on there. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take your ice. Let me grab a tray of ice so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to use 4 trays, or if you have a bag of ice, you're going to want to use half of that bag of ice right now. And you're just popping it all on there. 4 trays is what I'm going to do. And then you're just going to put this in your fridge, and you can cover it with a tea towel, and that'll keep the smell down a little bit. I mean, I love the smell, but it'll also make sure other scents don't get in it. But anyways, I'm just pop this in my fridge, and we will see you guys tomorrow morning. I'm going to try to find my little gadget here to turn you off. So I hope you'll join me tomorrow. See you soon. Have a good night. Okay, guys, we're back. Good morning. I am a little bit behind the 8 ball this morning. I had to run to town to get some feed, but anyways, I'm here. For you, you don't know that, but now you do. We are going to continue with our Chow piccalilli recipe, and I've got my cup of coffee. I had to go get feed this morning early. I didn't realize I was that low. Anyway, what we're going to do first is I have got, let me see if I can turn this a little bit, my Chow right here. It's all my vegetables that were overnight in the fridge, and I've still got the tea towels on them. And actually, there's still ice on top. So what we want to do now is we want to rinse that, and we want to rinse the salt off. But there's still going to be salt flavor in your vegetables. So this is a very important step. I like to rinse it, and then I'll taste like a piece of the cabbage and taste the salt level. But you want to rinse this a couple times in a pretty good size colander, or use a couple. I got this at a thrift store a few years back, and it's big and it's perfect for this. But we want to rinse that. So I'm going to do that, but in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and make my brine, which is all the spices and the vinegar and everything, and we're going to cook that on the stove. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse this. I don't think you really need to know how to rinse it. You just put this in the colander and just rinse it with your spray nozzle or your water, whatever you've got at the house to do. But I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then we'll do the brine, and then we will put all of this back together. So I'll be back in just a minute when I get my vegetables started to rinse. And I let them drain in the sink for quite a while the brine the brine is cooking. Okay, as you can see, I've got my vegetables all rinsed and everything, and I tasted it. And you want a hint of salt. You don't want to be super salty because that'll translate into your finished product. So a hint of salt is what I usually like. Okay, so what we're going to do now is get the brine together. You want a pretty good size stock pot here, because once we get this brine together, we're going to put the vegetables in it too, and I think this will be big enough. So let's start. We want 3 cups of white vinegar. So we'll measure that out. When I tasted that cabbage, you could taste the quote-unquote zestiness of those peppers that I put in there yesterday. Oh, and speaking of peppers, let me just reiterate about the pepper oil on your hands. Excuse me. Even though I had it underwater, those peppers were very potent. So if you want to use gloves, that's also a good idea. I didn't have gloves to put on yesterday, and I could still taste even after I washed my hands a few times. But if you don't have a problem with that, don't worry about it, but I would suggest gloves. Okay, then we want the 1 cup of sugar, which I've got right here, white sugar. And then we are going to measure out all of these wonderful spices. I'm so excited because I have never made a chow chow with this many spices, and I'm pretty excited. So we want 2 teaspoons of dry mustard. And we want 1 teaspoon of the mustard seeds. I probably should have had all these open. I'm sorry. Sorry this video is taking a little bit long. Hope you don't mind. And then we want the dill weed, which I'm going to use, but you can use dill seeds. So when I do put this in the description box, I'll put both of them in there. So you can, whatever you've got on hand, or if you prefer the dill seed. Dill is really easy to grow too, and you can just harvest the seeds and the weed part yourself. Okay, and then I want 1 teaspoon of turmeric and 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. Now I've never had ginger in this before, so that's really neat. I love the taste of ginger. I put it in most of my pies. Apple pie, peach pie, and of course, you know, pumpkin pie. I just love the taste. Okay, and now we're going to get 1 teaspoon of the red pepper flakes. And let me see, where's my celery seed here? 1 teaspoon of celery seed. I knew I was missing the celery seed. Okay, and then 1 teaspoon of the coarse black pepper. Now, coarse black pepper a lot of times isn't quite as potent as the minced, the really fine pepper. So I would assume that's why they're asking for the coarse. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and, excuse me, whoo, I can feel all that. Going to go ahead and just mix this around. I'm going to put it on the stove, and then we are, oh, and I forgot the parsley. This is my addition. It's actually not on the recipe, but I usually like a pinch of parsley in everything. I like the color, and I think it just adds to pickles. I put it in my salads and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer this to the stove, and I'm going to cook it down, bring it to a boil, and cook it for about 10 minutes, and then I will be back. So let me see if I can turn this off. There we go. Okay, I've got my brine on, and this is what it looks like. The turmeric really gives it that golden color, so that's really good. I like that. It smells so good, and it, like I said, it's kind of a savory sweet. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for this to come to a boil, and then we're going to boil it for 10 minutes. It's a good time to get your jars ready. Now this recipe says it makes between 8 and 9 pints. So I've got my clean sterilized jars over here in the sink filled with hot water. And I've got my lids and rings in a saucepan. And I've already had them on boil because I like them to be warm too. And then you get all your other things together. I've got my ladle, my funnel, and then I've got my tongs, which I need new tongs because that came off, but I'm too cheap to buy them. And then of course you've got your wooden spoon that I like to mix everything with. So we're just going to go ahead and let that come to a boil, and then we will be back. Okay, we have boiled this for 10 minutes, and I'm going to bring it over here on a tea towel, and I'm just going to add my vegetables a little at a time because we're going to want to mix this around to get that brine on here. That's why you need a big stock pot. And I've just got a few more handfuls here. Got it to where I can just stick it in there. Oh, it looks so good. Just love this. I hope you'll give it a try. If you guys have followed me this far, I just wanted to ask, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I hope you will. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's just a little click. I'm trying to get my subs up and views. That tells YouTube that our channel is worth watching, and I hope you think that too. So that's all the begging for now. Okay, we've got this all nice and mixed up. You can see all the spices and stuff all over your veggies. So we're going to go ahead and put this on medium, and then we're going to want to bring this to a boil and let it cook for 10 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and find a lid for that to keep the steam in there, and I will mix it periodically. So I'll be back when it's time to put it in the jars. Okay, we've had this on for 10 minutes at a boil, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it from the heat. You see it's boiling, you can hear it. And we're going to transfer our boiling water bath canner over. As you can see, I changed out canners from when I had the beans on. This is a boiling water bath canner. If you're not familiar with it, it's not pressurized at all. And a lot of times, well, most of the time, you do anything that has vinegar or high acid in it. That's what I've always been taught. So anyways, I've got this on just with some water. You want to make sure that your jars have at least 1 inch of water over in the boiling water bath canner. And I'm going to be doing pints. So let me grab a pint jar so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about. That will be sitting down the bottom. Oops. It's like, Denise, can't see. That will be sitting down the bottom like that, so my water will be over. And if not, we'll just add some. Okay, so what I want to do, just want to check on that. I'm going to go ahead and put that on medium-high. You want to make sure everything is hot to hot. You don't want this to be boiling and you just put lukewarm jars in there, because that will create a mess and possibly have cracked jars. So I try to make sure everything is about the same temperature. and also has to do with whatever you're putting in that jar. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all this water. Oops. Okay. I've got 9 jars ready over here. And also, while the water will also rise as you're putting those filled jars in there. And we've got our rings and our lids back there, which I'll grab in a minute. Okay. Now this is pretty chunky, so it'll take a little bit. I probably won't make you guys sit here and watch me put every one of them in here. But I'm just going to go ahead and start. Just mix it around. Oh gosh, it smells so good. Can you see it? It smells so good. So you're just going to fill them all up. And this recipe says a 1/4 inch headspace. So that's what I'll do. Now I'm going to put most of the vegetables in all the jars, and then I'll come back and I'll fill up with what brine I've got. So, and remember, this is very hot. So you probably need a spoon just to kind of tuck it down. And you want to do that because you want to be able to fill them as much as you can, kind of pack them down there. And put them in there. So I will be back when I've got my last jar filled, and we'll put the rings and lids on. Okay guys, let me bring this closer. I actually got 6.5. I don't know where it would have been 8 or 9, and I even increased the cabbage a little bit. So doesn't matter. I still have it. It smells wonderful. And I ladled all of the brine in it after I put all the veggies in there. And what I'm doing now with a clean rag that I crocheted, yeah, I'm just wiping the lid space and the ring space. And that is especially important for all your canning, but especially when you've got something that contains vinegar or little seeds that you maybe can't see right away, but this will definitely take it off. And I got my little half because I didn't want to waste any. So we've got that. I just want to check something on that one. Always make sure you check your area here where your lid goes for any cracks or any kind of chips, anything like that that would really make it a waste of your time. And you do that before you put your stuff in, because once you put your stuff in a cracked or a chip jar, for me, I don't save it, because I always feel like that could have very well gotten glass in there. So that's an important step as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these rings on, hand tighten them. And let me see, I've got to get a couple more rings. Hold on one second. Okay guys, here we are, finished product. Isn't it beautiful? We took it out of the canner. I turned off the heat after 10 minutes. I let them cool for 10 minutes in the water, and I brought them out, and they will stay on the counter for about 12 hours. And then you'll take your rings off, mark them, and put them away and enjoy them this winter. So I hope you have a great day. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.